Good morning. So here is what your next step is going to be. I just finished my background, doing my colors and mixing my primary and secondary together. So I'm going to now take this and I'm going to set it aside because I need it later for the next steps. But I'm actually not going to do this step today. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to focus on some of the silhouettes that you see on the left-hand side. Because the next part is that we are going to create wildlife silhouettes. And so when I look at that and I think about, or nature, it can be nature as well. So when I'm thinking about nature and I'm thinking about wildlife and some of the things that I want to put in, I might want to do flowers, or maybe I'm a hunter and I want to do a scene that has some deer or pheasants. It's kind of up to you what you're going to choose for your design, but our goal is something that you would find in nature. So what I'm going to do on this sheet then is I'm going to practice some different silhouettes. So what is a silhouette? A silhouette is a shadow of an image that you pick. So going back to some of our basic shapes, I'm going to think about some water lines and start creating my silhouette that way. So I might start with tall grasses here. You're also going to want to do yours in pencil first. And I would think about trying to create something interesting and not too stiff or rigid. So even if you're doing some flowers, maybe you have some of the stems bent, and maybe some are drooping down, and some are straight up. So here are just a few grasses for me. And then what I might do is, let's say this is going to be a scene of a duck on a pond or a frog on a lily pad. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to draw a line across the way to show the water. And then maybe in here I've got my lily pad. Sometimes they have little flowers on them. So if you're unsure what you want to do, you can think about your design, and you can also Google some different nature silhouettes, or maybe you want to have a butterfly that's sitting on a flower. Back here too then, I'm still going to show some grasses. So these ones aren't going to be as wide or as tall, just like we've learned in our landscape designs, but I want to show that my picture ends there. And then I'm going to have just a little duck here for now. I had mentioned that I was going to do a frog, but maybe I have a duck. And my duck's going to overlap. My duck looks really big. So a silhouette wouldn't really have an eye for him. And now what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you'll start filling it in with black, similar to the ones on the left-hand side. If you're going to use a permanent marker, make sure you have another paper underneath so that it doesn't bleed onto your table. See here I started filling in my spaces. So what's going to end up happening eventually is that we will put our designs that we end up liking onto our background, but you'll wait for approval on that. So what I'm doing now is I left some sections with some white highlights so you could still kind of see some of the details. And then this bottom part here, I think I'm going to fill mine in with black, just so it fills in as foreground grass in the front. And then that would be my rough draft design. So I will submit this to Miss Smaya or Miss Schrader to get approval. Now, what I would do first is I would make sure that you make yours in pencil, and then before you start coloring it black, which you might not even need to do it black for your final draft. That way, if you have any changes that you need to make, you can. So here's an example of a hummingbird with some flowers, and then there's a little butterfly inside there.